I know last time, guys, we started this whole thing with G-Ray breaking it down. This is what I'm about to do right here. Here we go. DJ Gino on the mic. Here we go. I'm going to let the music play it all.
Gotta save Princess Baby.
Guys, welcome to GG Rated. I am Gino. This is Gray. We are your co-hosts. Episode 49. We appreciate you stopping in. Let's get this thing on the road. You ready, G-Ray?
I'm ready, sir.
Let's get it.
Hello, welcome to GG Rated. We hope you enjoy the show. Now here are the hosts.
Guys, welcome. Episode 49. Thank you for stopping in. As I said, we got a banger of a show as always for another week with us. Great. Tell them what we got, man.
Today, we're going over our gaming moment of the week, as well as gaming deals and news, and then on to our main topic of...
Hades 2.
Hades 2.
You've been playing it.
Diablo 2. I know you have. Diablo.
You have been saying Diablo 2 the whole week, so I will give you that. But
Hades 2,
guys, in Hades 2, like, it's the sequel to Hades. Everybody knows about Hades. It was a great indie game that really just blown it out of the water. It's still in early development, but we will get into it. It's going to be a great segment talking about.
There used to be a TV show called Everybody Loves Hades. It was really good.
Really?
No.
Really? I was like, everybody loves Raymond, more like
everybody loves Raymond, but everybody loves Hades.
Somebody's been watching. See, he's on night shift. Guys, he's on night shift. So he gets that late night shows from Nick at Night. You remember Nick at Night?
Yeah, Nick at Night was balling, dude.
I don't know.
I Love Lucy. Hello.
Oh, dude, don't talk about I Love Lucy. My wife loves that show, man.
I do too. It's great.
Really?
I watch it all the time.
Dude, you know, I've actually bought her the DVD set when we was dating. I Love Lucy. Yeah.
What do you do this time, Lucy?
Dude, that's pretty good, man.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, but how was your week? Other than that, man, just real quick, just tell me how's it been going,
dude. It's a blur. Been working overtime as usual. Looking at building a house here soon. So just, man, I was at work today. I'm gonna work tomorrow.
I was at work today as well. Yeah,
man. It's good. I'm here now, relaxing with you and all our esteemed listeners out there.
So we are recording this is Sunday today. Y'all will end up getting the video Tuesday if you're listening to it when we release it. So y'all be done with the holiday, and y'all probably all be angry with yourselves about having to go back to work after the holiday. So hey, at least you get to enjoy and listen to us for the rest of this episode and listen to some gaming news. And
hopefully you have your Steam Deck on you right now at work, and we can convince you to download some games on it and play it.
I like what you're thinking. And we're also going to help you with the gaming moments of the week.
Yeah, good segue. Let's go.
G-Ray, as always, please lead it off if you don't mind. Let us know what you got.
I will. So did I talk about Neon White last time?
You did.
I did, didn't
I think.
So had I beat the game yet? I don't think I'd beat the game yet, right?
I don't know. You forget Hades 2. You forget that you beat Neon White.
Hey, I don't remember.
Get him some coffee. Get him some coffee.
I don't remember if I'd already talked about it or not.
I think you talked a little bit about Neon White, but it's okay if that's what your gaming moment of the week, man. Let them know. Let them know about it, because I will say this, guys. I have to give Josh this. Like, he's been kind of talking to me a little bit more about it throughout the week because he's been playing it and he's almost 100% it. So he probably has a lot to talk about with it.
Yeah. So basically, my gaming moment of the week is beating that game. Has been
you beat
amazing.
it. You didn't tell me you beat it.
Oh yeah, I beat it. I got both of the endings, and to get one of the endings requires you to get all these Easter eggs for a particular character in certain levels. So I had already found all the hiding spots for these things and except one, I had forgot about one. So I did the one ending where I couldn't unlock the ending that I wanted to. So I went back and I did the other ending. And I don't want to give too much away because I am going to go into a spoiler video. I'm going to make an
Yes.
actual video about the game. But this game has such a good theme to it in the end. And you learn a lesson about forgiveness. And it is amazing how they did it. It was really cool.
Did you have to? I know you're not going much into it. Did you have to like talk about forgiveness? When you talk about forgiveness, I'm sure you had to forgive this game a million times of like getting it reset and redoing it throughout this game because it is kind of a time trial kind of game a little bit, right?
That is the gameplay loop. You're trying to get
Yeah.
the best time you can in each level, and there's also these hiding spots for presents you can give to other characters. And as you unlock those hiding spots for the presents, you can unlock more dialogue and even more levels for each character. So I unlocked everything, man. I have gold ran, or actually it's like platinum or something. It's the highest medal you can for each level except one.
I know you talked about a bunch, and I know you just dying to let it all out. So guys, make sure you stay tuned to this channel. Make sure you hit that follow button and make sure you hit that bell so you can get the notification when that video gets released, when Gray does it, because I'm actually pretty excited to see it as well with that game. So I would say, just kind of going into my gaming moment of the week, it would actually be with Hades 2. And I don't want to go too much into it because we're going a whole segment with it, you know. But I will go ahead and throw out, it is when I beat the boss. And the way I beat the boss was a tornado kind of element that you get attached, like this weapon that you get attached to your player. And that as you're like running around, you're hitting them with like this tornado that's just giving damage constantly. And while that's happening, you're just doing all this damage. I was just like, man, this is badass, you know? I was like, this is awesome. You know, it kind of reminded me of when we did play Diablo 4 together. Remember that when that got released? So
I didn't ever play it. Actually.
I thought you played with it. I thought, I guess it was me, Derek. Blaze, and Derek. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So we ended up beat that game. And so it kind of reminded me of a Diablo 4. We all had Game Pass, so we got to play it for free. But that was my gaming moment of the week. And guess what? I played it, as we've been saying, on the Steam Deck. So if you get some time, 60 frames a second. Perfect. 60 frames per second, you can't beat it. So that would be our gaming moments of the week. If you have your own gaming moment of the week, make sure you email us at GGratedChannel@gmail.com, GGratedChannel@gmail.com, or just drop a comment down in the YouTube section and we will feature it on the next episode. You want to bring us into this next section?
Yes, next section is gaming deals. Let's check it out. So today, there's gaming deals on the forecast. News at 11. So yeah, we
cannot hear you at all during that transition.
We got deals and news. I was basically pretending to be a
news anchor.
Yeah, I was like, here comes the weather. But anyways, the weather is hot. We have a hot deal coming at you from GG.deals.
I like that transition, dude. Yeah.
Searching specifically Steam deals. This is a 90% off deal for Kingdom Come Deliverance. It is $2.99, or you can get the higher edition for just $1 or $2 more. Let's see where that is. Kingdom Come Deliverance. There's like a gold edition or something. Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition is $3.99, so only $1 more. Historical low for this game because there is a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But Kingdom Come Deliverance, the first one, is an amazing game that I've actually played before on the Xbox. I think it was available through Game Pass at one point. I don't know if it still is, but I do know that this game is cheap right now. It's basically, the olden days of knights and
medieval kind of times.
Medieval, thank you. Yeah. I was trying to find.
I got you.
Yeah. So you're Henry, the son of a blacksmith, thrust into a raging civil war. You watch helplessly as invaders storm your village and slaughter your friends and family. Narrowly escaping the brutal attack, you grab your sword to fight back, avenge the death of your parents, and help repel the invading forces. This game is cool because it is open world. You can make any choice that you want. You can grab things out of the environment. You can basically go do whatever you want and build your own story around different choices that you make and folks that you meet. And
so cool. just to kind of get more straightforward, is it like open world? Is it?
It's way open world, dude. It's
way
open.
So
world.
it's more. Is it more like a survival kind of game or no?
It's not really a survival game per se. It's more like a role playing game, except the combat, it's like you're holding the weapon in each hand, and you actually have to actually swing.
Would it be good with VR? Do they have a VR version?
I don't know. I don't know. They might, but yeah, it would be amazing in VR
if this game is good, which apparently it's got to be good because they made a sequel. Like Josh said, it's a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that's out for $60 on Steam as well. I guess they put this game on sale for 90% off. So
dude, it's pretty.
That's
amazing.
A great pick, man. That's a great pick to kind of get started.
I would definitely check it out. Really cool. It is first person action and it is top tier. So check it out. And it's a low point of entry.
Nice, man. Yeah, $2.99 can't be. That's going to be your deal of the week, guys. Your deal of the week. If you have any other deals of the week, make sure you get with Josh this way. Make sure you get with Josh. Let him know that maybe, hey, this deal is pretty good too, and he'll probably feature it. I'm telling you, and he'll probably let you know and give you some credit as well, guys. We're looking for some kind of interaction or something like that of guys like leaving some comments, leaving your thoughts, leaving anything, your hate. I don't care. Leave something that goes into it. But another transition for you, Josh. Speaking of hate, I thought about I was going to talk about, and I kind of want to go into that a little bit. But until then, do you want to kind of go into the GameStop, retro GameStop before I find what I need to talk about real quick? You want to talk to them about that a little bit?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. So GameStop is coming out with a retro inspired store, I guess. Is that right?
That is right.
So, and if you watch things on YouTube, like I watch what you call it? Rick, what's his name? Hold on a second. I gotta look it up because I forgot his freaking name now. Retro Rick. Golly. I watch people like Retro Rick. There's some other guys that I watch too. It's actually his editor has his own channel, and I love watching those retro things, but it seems like it got really big a few years ago, maybe even around the pandemic.
Yes.
And after that, ever since, it's been kind of tapering off. So I feel like GameStop is kind of jumping into this thing maybe late, but you never know with these things. There's ebbs and flows, and there's still a big market for it. It's just not as widespread, I think, as it was.
They might have had some pretty big research to actually go this route, but GameStop is looking for some kind of edge at some point, and they see all these retro stores popping up, and they're doing so well. I just don't know how long that can actually last. I think they're just trying to survive at this point. But just what we're talking about, guys, is GameStop is coming out with GameStop retro store locations, okay? They're starting to pop up slowly over the locations. I think they're going to ultimately take over these GameStops, and they're going to sell all this niche kind of stuff and supplies. But it was announced on Tuesday on X that the company listed several iconic consoles like the Wii and Xbox 360 that became overshadowed by later models, such as the Nintendo Switch and the Series X. These locations will sell older games from a variety of franchises, including Pokemon, Mario Kart, Halo, and Grand Theft Auto. They actually did a tweet. GameStop did a tweet, as you can see, and it shows that they're selling all the way up to the PlayStation 3 consoles and everything. And they even have a tracker. I'll leave the link in the description for y'all that y'all can go to this article, and there's actually a retro store located link inside this article that you can click on, put your zip code in there, and you can see what the closest closest retro store, GameStop retro store, is going to be at. So I think the closest one to us, Josh, is going to be, everybody knows we're from Alabama. It's going to be Mississippi is going to be our closest one. So it'll be pretty cool. I think at some point it's going to come to these bigger cities.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering how they're going to differ from places like Second and Charles, if you have one of those, or different kind of comic book stores. Which
we have Play and Talk and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like
in Game Exchange, do you have a Game Exchange?
No.
Okay.
We don't have a Game Exchange, but I just wonder how they're going to like differentiate between those places. Because GameStop, as far as pricing goes, I mean, I don't think they're the most trusted with good prices, or at least when you give a game into them, to buy it off of you. I remember I traded in, this was a long time ago, but it was like all of my PlayStation 3 games and some other stuff so that I could get a new copy of Battlefield 4. And it's like I traded in so many freaking games, dude, and I regret it. Oh my gosh, I regret it.
And I think everybody our age feels such hate for GameStop sometimes because like they took advantage. They took advantage of us college students and high school students back in the day when they was really thriving, right? And I felt like it's like that whole establishment was built on our back. So I understand. I think there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way about, man, they just got back-ended whenever they give all these games, like great games in systems too, for cheap, when a new system comes out. And they could have gave more money for these consoles. So that's the long-standing joke with GameStop is, hey, that's about worth as much as a GameStop trade, is what people say. So, but it's still pretty cool that they're kind of honoring this retro situation. So if you're into the retro, which a lot of people are, you can never have enough of that because there's more avenues to buy these retro games. And maybe they have them at a decent price. That's soon to be found out. If maybe we need to take a trip over there and check it out one day. That'd be a good little road trip,
Yeah.
But I do have one more thing of news I want to go over that I think is something I really want to talk to you about and see what your thoughts are on this. I came across this today, and this is what I was thinking about earlier, and this is what I originally was going to go over. But it's ultimately, it's about Dustborn devs. They call out a tidal wave of hate and abuse that engulf the game. Those who engage in such behavior will be removed from our community. So that kind of got me. And I was like, oh, well, what's all the hate about? That's the first thing I think about is what's all this hate and what's this game they're talking about? Well, apparently, Dustborn is the developer is Red Thread Games, okay? And Dustborn is an alt history Americana road trip game that wears its politics on its sleeve. It's about a group of outcast queers and exploited workers who fight fascist cops and smash corporate drones while navigating new and evolving relationships. Wow. So people got a hold of this game, and I mean, it's obviously talking about they're hitting all the points, and they said they wanted to hit these points to spark conversation, but since now that they're getting such hate on these points because the game is solely driven on political, and there's a lot of people, most of the people, I think like 80-something% of the people in the comments are calling them the woke left game, is what they're calling it, and they're getting very offended by this. And I'm more of a guy that likes to listen to each sides and stuff like that, and like to hear what other people have to say. But at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and tell you my side of it is you're making this game, right, that is specifically targeting individuals like cops, right, like officers that could necessarily give persuasion to these younger generation and stuff that's playing this game, right, and that could ultimately put somebody at harm. But the other side of that is everybody has their free speech, and I feel like that's part of their expression. It's a bunch of misled individuals, I believe, that decide to put all this energy, sometimes people put energy in the wrong things, I feel like. And I would say this is probably putting energy in the wrong thing, but is that something where you should completely just, degrade it? Maybe so. I think people have the right to do that as well. If they don't agree with it, they're expressing it by leaving their reviews on this game. And I don't think you should if they're just leaving the reviews and saying how they don't like it, the other side should do the same and support this game, right? And say, well, they do. That's my opinion on it. I feel like everybody should have the right, but when they start talking about censoring these people that are saying this stuff and saying that they're going to suspend their accounts, they're going to, just take them offline pretty much. I feel like that's
a refund then.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, hey, hopefully they bought it on Steam. They can just get a refund.
Yeah. So can I read a couple reviews of the game? Because I think it'd be fun.
I think I can. Let me go to.
I got them up here. I can.
Go ahead.
I can just read it. So this one is a negative review, not recommended, and it's by. His name is Flusky. He says, one of the worst games I've played in the last 5 years. The music is not enjoyable. The gameplay is paper thin, and the characters all hate each other. I did not feel like my choices mattered. There is a lot of irony in a game about a rebellious group of ragtag heroes fighting the government in a game funded by the government. So those are the negative ones. Now I'm going to read a positive one.
Okay.
Also, just to be
You might have to read a couple more of these so they get the idea of it.
So this is a recommended game, or this is supposed to be a positive review, but it says the game is aesthetically repulsive and an insult to the entire project of world civilization. Playing it for only 3 hours, I developed a terrible headache within the first. However, the U.S. government provided the developers with a grant of $250K to combat misinformation, and I support the Free West. I don't understand.
So what they're saying is the government gave money. What they're saying is the left gave money for this game to push their view. But when you say the Free West,
money, by the way.
Yes. So the Free West is what he's saying. It's like the free speech. I support the free speech and all that. So that's how I took it. You got another negative? Let me hear another negative and another positive before I tell you what their response is to this.
So that one wasn't exactly a
positive,
but it was marked as a positive. So I'm going to read an actual positive. That says, very good story, several funny parts, definitely worth the price. $29.99 at the time of writing this. If you like interactive movie-style games like Telltale games, I just wish you could turn off the they-them pronoun that a lot of these developers are using now. Unless it's a robot/drone, it's him, her, depending on the person. So, yep, that was a positive review.
That's the best positive you've seen so far. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've heard enough negative.
More, but I just picked some.
So they did a response to this to their community. I actually wrote a little letter. I'm going to read that out loud. It says, to our community, since we first announced Dustborn, we've read your comments and listened to your feedback, hopes and wishes for the game. Over the past 4 years, our team has poured their hearts into telling a story that's deeply meaningful to us. A story about the power of words, about building a world where everyone can feel safe, about love, friendships, and robots, of course. We expected Dustborn to spark conversation and debate, and look forward to engaging with our players in a positive and constructive fashion. Unfortunately, that conversation has been drowned out by a tidal wave of hate and abuse. We welcome thoughtful feedback and respectful criticism. We embrace discussion and debate, but we have zero tolerance for hate speech, harassment, and threats of any kind. Those who engage in such behavior will be removed from our community. To everyone, thank you for coming on this journey with us. Your support means everything, and your constructive feedback continues to push us to learn and evolve. Together, let's continue building a world where everyone can feel valued and empowered to share their stories. That's the letter that they wrote out. Now, the problem with this is people has been complaining even worse, saying that they're not just banning people that have, hate speech, harassment, and all that. They're actually banning people that have opposite views of what they're talking about.
Yeah. That's where it usually comes into play. Like, everybody's all about acceptance until it doesn't agree with their narrative, is what it seems like a lot of time. And
that can go into a whole nother whirlwind. But I mean, look, if this is the game, that's the greatest thing about video games, I think, Josh, is
Mm-hmm.
there's so much art to it and so many different views and creativity. To different people think of different things. It might be the weirdest thing, but some people might like that weirdest thing. There might be the most jockey athletic thing. Well, there's a group for that. This group, video
Mm-hmm.
games have groups and niches for everybody, right? So you can't really hate too much on this group. If you don't like it, the best way to not support it is to not buy the game, right? And you have a right to leave a comment. If you played, if you want to try it and just see if you like it, you have a right to
Mm-hmm.
leave that comment. But to censor stuff is something I can never agree with when you censor,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's something that's ultimately, like they said, straight hate or violence, But that can be interpreted a whole nother way as well, and we won't go into that.
Yeah.
But I should have hit this button when we went to this second.
The good news just keeps coming.
I don't know if it's good news or not. One day I'm going to remember to hit this button when we have two things of news and all that. But that's our news of the week, guys, and ideal of the week as well. Smash that like button if you liked what we have this week. With that being said, let's go into our main topic, Hades 2.
Let's go.
All right, Hades 2. Let me get into it. And the way we're going to do this, guys, okay, is we're going to kind of break down the story to 6 different sections and everything, kind of talk about the different story aspect to it. Then we kind of go into the gameplay of it. I know a little bit of it might get into it when we go into the story, but I'm going to come break it down that way to you, Josh, and maybe you can kind of tell me your thoughts and stuff on this game, and kind of go from there.
Yes, sir.
So the first thing is we're gonna dive into this gameplay of Hades 2. It is a sequel of the critically acclaimed action role playing game. As I don't know how they're gonna say her name. I've been saying it Melione is how they've been saying Melino. I don't know. I'm gonna say Melione, the princess of the underworld. You'll embark on the challenging journey to rescue your imprisoned father Zeus and take down the Titan of Time. Here are some of the aspects of the game. So the number one thing
I don't think your father is Zeus. I thought your father was Hades.
Yes, yes, the father is actually. Hey, I'm sorry, and then I think Zeus is.
Zeus.
It's just one of the
helps.
It's one of the, you're right. Thank you. But on the first thing we're going to talk about is the roguelike action. Okay. So the number one thing is, like its predecessor, Hades 2 is a roguelike game, which means each run is procedurally generated. As you descend through the underworld, you'll face different challenges, enemies, and environments. Death is part of the process, but with each death, you gain knowledge, upgrades, and new abilities. What do you think about that aspect of the game?
It's cool because I played games kind of like this, but not exactly. This is more of a dungeon crawler, more like interactive with other characters. And I've played a game called Vampire Survivors, where as you unlock more things in the level, you get more powerful. You might get more abilities, this and that. So I've played games like it, but not exactly like this. This is its own mix with a lot more storytelling. And at first, I think I was just confused by everything at first because I didn't know exactly like what I was in store for. And then as I started gaining more abilities and kind of got the flow of the gameplay loop, I actually started really enjoying it. At first, I did like I even told you the other day, I was like, I don't think this is my style of game.
You did, yeah.
After playing it and getting into it more and getting really powerful at times, because you don't always unlock the same abilities every time. Like it might be vastly different. And there was one time where when I cast a spell around me, it would hit people with lightning bolts. And then I also had on a dress that was made by a spider lady that made me more powerful. and then I had this other thing that I had unlocked, and then I could do this other thing where I would hit people and it would hit all the other like enemies around them too with water. And I mean, all these things together, I was like, dude, this is freaking sweet. And I like that it's hard too because the game isn't very forgiving as far as like health potions and all that. There just isn't a lot of that. You do
No,
get healed over time if you do use
you
like
can't.
certain
Yep.
things, or you can unlock abilities where you can get heals if you do this certain attack and you actually take enemies down. I mean, there's all these different things. There would be a ton of them to list, I'm sure, but uh,
Yes.
I kind
But
of went off on a tangent then. I don't really know exactly what the question was anymore, but
well, it's just about is no. I think you did good because you kind of explained about all the new upgrades and the new abilities. Is what I was asking about. How did
mhm,
you like those new abilities and the upgrades that you have with this game? And it kind of sounds like that you know, at first you was kind of like, oh, here we go. Let me just go through here, hack and slash. But you start getting these abilities
mhm,
and you start getting these really cool things, like you said, the lightning bolt, or like I was talking about earlier on the gaming moment, is the twister, the tornado that's going around you.
mhm.
You got all these different things that you can do, and I feel like once you start adding that chaos to it a little bit, it kind of
Yeah.
starts getting difficult, and you have a little trouble with it in different enemies and different environments that you can
Mhm.
actually use the environment. We'll go into all that, but I think you hit it right on the head on the first one.
Yeah,
Ember.
and you have to strategize according to the abilities that you unlocked.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool is that every run is going to be a little different because as you come back home to your like home base, you can get more powerful in other ways using loot and stuff that you acquired in your dungeon
Yep.
playthrough. So,
So
there's always these things evolving and changing, which makes for a really enjoyable game loop, honestly.
I agree. I agree, especially on something like the Steam Deck. But we'll go into. So I will say this: Melanoa. If I'm
Hmm.
saying that right, guys, and I apologize if I'm not, but that's how I'm saying it. Um, she has a sister. She's a sister of Zagreus. Kronos, time to time, took over the house of Hades. Kronos did, so that's why she's trying to, avenge Hades, which is her brother, because of Kronos took over hell pretty much. Um, she was raised by the Witch of the Crossroads, who trained her all her life to seek revenge against Kronos and restore order to the underworld. Okay, so
Hmm.
Kronos' usurpation, take over the underworld, disrupted the balance between the mortal realm and the divine. Hades, Persephone, and Zagreus were captured, leaving Melanoa as the last hope to defeat Kronos and reclaim their home. So she's got all that kind of working against her. She's the last hope. The game takes place in two main areas. Okay. And I know you mentioned this before to me, Josh, and you can kind of
Hmm.
explain and talk about this a little bit. The underworld, in the surface. So you have the underworld and then you have the surface. Players explore both realms, encountering unique locations, enemies, and allies. Each run through the game is distinct, making it a dynamic experience. So
Hmm.
every time you go back, it's a little different every time. Can you tell me a little bit about the enemies that you faced so far in this game, and how do you think the challenge has been with these enemies?
Oh, there's been quite a few, so I can tell you some that give me a problem every now and then if I don't handle them right. Because at first, enemies might have armor, which means there isn't a lot of knockback on them attacking. They can
They
still
have a
attack even
yellow.
when
They
you're
have a
attacking.
yellow bar. Yes.
And then when you get that bar down and actually start to take off of their main health, they get knocked back and don't attack as much, or at all. Even sometimes, like you can just keep hitting them, and they're just like,
Yep.
But there's the I think they're called sirens. They scream at you. Those
Oh, they chase you
ladies,
too.
they chase you and they scream at you, and pretty much the main way to stop them is you're gonna cast an area around you that slows them down, or it can even hurt them if you have an ability on top of that. So you use that, and then you attack them, or you can throw like arrows at them or whatever
Yeah.
at a distance. But if they get close to you, they can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And this is an early enemy. And then there's got to be a list here somewhere.
There's probably a list of them, but and it changes overall. And we have not got to all of that list yet.
And that's just one of.
But you can see on the
many,
screen,
many
you can
enemies.
actually see that's them. They was actually using the sound at one point. If you look on the screen on some of the gameplay that we have playing up right now, it actually shows the red bar that they had. That means they can be staggered the whole time. So as long as you keep hitting them, they cannot attack you. But if they have a yellow bar, until you get that yellow bar down, then you like here's one with a yellow bar. It's going to still attack, and you're not going to be able to phase them until you break that energy bar. So it's got different aspects to this game, and as you can see on the gameplay on the screen, it actually has trees that's over here on the left and right as well. You can actually use the environment on this game, and you can actually hit those trees in the direction of the enemies, and it will actually do a substantial amount of damage in reference to it. And I know in the first fight with the witch, you can actually defeat the witch very quickly by using the trees and stuff as well, if you're able to somehow do that. Just kind of going into the fourth thing, that's pretty cool when it comes to how you.
So are there any other enemies we might want to like hit on, because there's some interesting ones there. I would like to kind of go through a list of them a little bit. Like we've only mentioned her, but I'm trying to find Hades 2 like enemies list so that I can actually.
Okay. We can do that.
Kind of go over them just a little bit of the kind of characters you're going to encounter. I have a Hades 1 list, but I can't find Hades 2 like an enemy list for them.
So I'm trying to search and see if so we have, here's the list. What we do have, some of them is the Root Stalker, which is found in Erebus. This boss hurls spikes and summons a tracking whip. So that's going to be a challenging fight. A Shadow Spiller, which was found in Erebus boss. The Shadow Spiller blankets the area in shadows, concealing 2 Thorn Weavers. Watch out for the surprise attacks. The Deep Serpent, this powerful seahorse boss resides in Oceanus. It wears armor, launches heavy artillery, and teleports around the room. Additionally, you have mini bosses throughout your journey. While not as powerful as the main bosses, they still pose a threat. So you have to keep an eye out for that as well. Remember, each enemy has a unique attack patterns, okay? And requires different strategies to defeat. So you're going to have different, I don't want to give away to everybody every single enemy that's in the game, because there's like hundreds of enemies throughout this whole game.
Yeah.
But there's different strategies for each one.
Right. And I can tell you which ones were a lot of fun is when, so you get through the world that you enter off the bat. I guess that's the underworld, maybe. And then you can leave from there, and I don't know if it goes to the same place every time, but I went to the world that was water.
The water, that's Oceana. Oceanus.
So I went to Oceana, and there's certain parts on there where you get attacked by like dozens and dozens of, I think they're fish or something.
Seahorses,
Okay, they're seahorses. And they're everywhere. I mean, there's a bunch of them, and they're all. And I had an ability where, when I cast that area around me, it would do damage to them. So there's just like enemies everywhere, popping off and exploding. And that was probably one of the cooler moments. Is I had built myself up in a particular way to where I was able to fend off a ton of enemies. I mean, they're lower level, but it was just really cool that things aligned to where I could take them out in such a fantastical way. That was really cool and looked really cool. So
and I'm glad you said that, like the different enemies and all that. One of the coolest things, let's talk about this since we're talking about enemies. Your first boss fight with the witch that actually raised you up. You can actually see it on the screen right now that we have up, that you can see on YouTube if you watch it.
Head mistress,
the Witch of the Crossroads. Yes. Hecate or Hecat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but she actually
Okay.
tests it. She's actually like a mother to Melanoa. Okay,
She's your mentor and de facto parental figure.
yes. So she is trying to test her before she continues her journey, and you have to defeat her before you can continue on your journey. Now, there's what you do is you see all those trees. If you can try to hit her with the trees and try to do damage and all that, but mostly is you have to realize what her pattern is. So she has like 3 or 4 different kind of attacks and everything. And what's really cool about this on this game is every boss is going to be different, like I said. So there's different strategies on every boss. Like the second boss, which you don't know about too much, Josh, but I'm going to spoil it for you, is when you're in Oceanus, you actually face like this sea monster that actually likes to sing. So you have a piano player playing in the background, and you have a guitar person like chasing after you the whole time. So you're having to run around and trying to defeat the band members before you can defeat her. And then she goes all crazy at you and starts spitting stuff out at you. So every single boss and mini boss and everything has something different. Going back to the witch, the coolest part of the whole thing with the witch is getting turned into a sheep, part of her curse.
You get cursed, and I'm like, no, that thing's chasing me, man. If it hits you, dude, you turn into a sheep, and then you have to.
What'd you do when you first got turned the sheep?
I was like, what the heck? I just started running, and then you narrowly escape. There's like a big circle that'll appear on the map, and you only have a few seconds to jump out of the way, and that whole like area.
And all you can do is jump.
Something.
All you can do is
jump and go, bah, and you're not really going that fast either. So you have to book it, and that's aggravating.
Yeah,
but very funny too.
So I will say this: so you have the underworld and the surface. You also have Erebus and Oceanus, which is the underworld locations. Okay, so there's 2. They're the key areas in the underworld. Erebus is a shadowy realm, while Oceanus features watery landscapes. Then you have the city of Ephra in the Rift of Thessaly, which is a surface location. So you have 2 each, 2 underworlds and 2 above locations. On the surface, players venture to the city of Ephra in the Rift of Thessaly. These locations offer different environments and encounters. Ephra actually in particular holds a lot of secrets and dangers as well. So Melanoa's journey revolves around defeating Chronos, unraveling the mysteries, and restoring the House of Hades. But along the way, you will get allies along the way to kind of help you, and you uncover some hidden truths, and you start getting a little bit more of that story. Have you noticed, by what you're able to play, have you noticed there was a little bit of a story aspect kind of coming along on this, or is it more just you try to get back into the action, and that didn't really strike you too much?
Yeah, so I found myself really diving into the story part of it and listening to it's really good voice acting, and really good dialogue back and forth, and getting to talk to all the characters back at your home base is actually a lot of fun, because every time you get done on a run, it's usually every time there's a new dialogue option for you to have with different characters. So I found myself really enjoying the characters. So the one that I really like too is the ghost that's like right there at the beginning. And
you talking about the schizophrenic ghost? Oh,
well, I think she's practicing to like haunt or something. So she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat your soul," and then she's like, "Was that any good? Was that a little too much?" Or she seems really sweet. And
see, I thought I took it like a bipolar, like a schizo ghost. Like one part of the ghost hates that girl, and the other part is her friend. So that's kind of cool that you kind of gave a different interpretation of that. Of like, maybe I'm wrong on that. Yeah.
It seems like the main character, I forget her name, but it seems like she's not too worried about anybody there. She's just like, whatever. Yeah, this is just life, because she's grown up there. And there she
is right there. There she is right there.
You can give
on the video.
you can find things when you go out in the field. You can find different gifts to give characters,
Dora.
and that'll also unlock options too. And I gave one of my gifts to the sleeping person that's
I
there.
did
There's a
too.
person in
Yeah.
there, and they actually start to talk a little bit in their sleep. So, um, that's cool too. There's like, who's the character that's sleeping all the time? And I
I
guess we were
I
just
don't remember
trying
the
to get her
name,
to
but
wake up.
the ghost name that you was just asking about a second ago is named Dora. We just
Dora,
saw
okay.
her on the video that we had the gameplay.
I like
we
Dora.
Have. Yeah,
Dora's cool.
But I mean, when you die, guys, because this game is about dying and getting better and upgrading, right? To have better weapons and stuff like that. You go back to, like, I call it Hell's Den. Is pretty much what it is. It's like the home of Melanoa. She goes around, and like what Josh is saying is, you have sometimes these potions or whatever you can call it, and you can give them to different characters, and they give you special abilities. When you give it to these certain characters, and when you give so many, you get to upgrade another ability. So you have a whole bunch of different things that you can do, and you can upgrade on this game and do a lot with it.
Because along the way you're getting helped by different gods in this mythos. So you might be getting visited by Aphrodite at the beginning and getting her powers.
Yep.
Or you might be visited by Zeus and you'll get some lightning powers. So
because they all want you to take down Kronos because of what he did to their family. So kind of going into the next section, you kind of talked about it just a little bit here. You kind of have the rich narrative unfolds as you interact with gods, shades, and other characters. Dialogues reveal the backstory, right? If you actually read all the dialogue, they reveal the backstory, the relationships, and the hidden truths. Your choices impact the story as well, and the voice acting adds the depth to the experience. So I find it that there's some things that if you do, and maybe I don't do, you're going to get certain aspects of that story that I'm not going to get. And I feel like that adds a lot to it, because even what you see on the screen now, these cards that you can purchase by your runs that you get with the ashes that you collect, they give you different abilities. You might take a whole nother approach to something and be able to complete another stage that I couldn't complete. Or you can take a different path that I don't take. And so you're probably going to meet people that maybe I don't meet. And I think that adds a lot to a game, instead of all of us having the same exact route, knowing the same exact thing. To have numerous things, it's going to bring back that playability for this game, I feel like. Do you think that's something that people look at? Or are you more the guy that sit here and, hey, I just want to play the story and be done with it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that kind of everybody gets their own experience that's kind of personal to them. You know, you're seeing a lot of games do this. One in particular is like Baldur's Gate. I think it is like top tier of how it like handles things like that, because there's so many different options that you can unlock depending on how you approach the story and the different choices that you make. So I think it's kind of like this here, except maybe toned down a lot, because I don't know if there's different endings or not on this game. I don't know that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was, you know, with the variability in the gameplay that they're offering here.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know we've only played I know I played only like 5-6 hours of this thing. But I will tell you, inevitably your first ending experience in Hades 2 will be the Melanoa ending. So everybody's going to get the Melanoa ending for the whenever you play. She seeks to break the curse in the underworld. Her parents, along with the entire Greek pantheon, have been captured by Kronos. And this is spoiler alert, by the way, guys. You're probably going to guess this, but the final boss for Melanoa in the ending is going to be Kronos himself. So when he faces Kronos, the problem is, not to go too far into that, right? But the bosses get harder, you get more powerful, so you kind of balance it out. And this is still in early access, apparently. Okay, so
And if you die, you start all over.
you
You're
start
supposed
all
to go
over,
through it all over again.
all of it.
So,
The problem
yeah.
is do you get tired of that? And is the balancing right? Because if they don't have the balancing right on some things, it's going to make it extremely difficult to keep going back and forth. And honestly, if I'm being honest here and I'm just being transparent, on the first Hades, I never beat the first Hades. I loved the game, but I kind of got to a point of, okay, I got to restart. Okay, I got to restart. And you just got to really suck your time into this game and grind through it a little bit. And sometimes you just get tired and you want to play a more relaxing game. And before you know it, oh man, I forgot how to do this. I forgot how to do this move and how to move here. And you forget that and you don't want to go back.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
So the last thing we'll talk about is the art and the music of this game. So Supergiant Games, their signature, that's the developer of this game, style, it shines in Hades 2. If you notice in reference to the art, I really love that green color and the neon fluorescent look that they give. It's like a 2D, 3D kind of look, 2.5D, I think is what they're calling it. And I am such a fan of that. First off, it's vibrant, it's detailed, it's atmospheric. That's the first thing I want to talk about is what did you think about just the visuals? Just tell me what you thought about the visuals.
Are amazing, dude. Like, it reminds me, it's not anime-ish, but it is kind of. It's that certain anime style of, I'm trying to think of the name of it. Is it Vinland Saga, maybe? But there's different styles here. It's definitely its own style. I love the art style. I think it's really good. I think it's top tier. I think it like, I do compare it to other things, but I still think that it's in kind of a league of its own with its own style. If I looked at anything else, I would start, and it came close to this, I would probably compare it to this. Like, this would be the baseline of this art style. So, just like, I'm kind of clicking through the different characters here, and they look so cool and detailed. It's more comic book style, I would say.
If you had this show as a featured of like an anime or something like that, on a Netflix series or anything, I think we have enough fans with this show. I feel with this game. Yeah. I feel like it would be a great story. I think it really would be a great series to kind of go into, and you can actually dive more into the stories and the side stories with all the sisters and brothers that show up to assist her in this journey to defeat Kronos. But as far as the visuals go, I think Hades really kind of stands out with the visuals on this second game, even more than they did in the first game.
They definitely took and made all these characters, which you've heard about a lot of them, but like just looking at Aphrodite, like I've never seen an interpretation of her before.
Yeah.
How, it's kind of, she's almost naked, but she's got hair over the certain parts. Like hair from her head that comes down and covers things, and it's getting in the weeds over there.
Here we go,
but bruh, for real. It's its own style, man. It's really cool. I will say I mostly compare it probably to comic book, like DC looking comic book style, and I'm all for it.
That's a good
it's great
comparison. I think it really is. I think the last thing I want to talk about is, I think the thing that captures the most is the music on this game. So the soundtrack is composed by Darren Korb. I think it complements the gameplay perfectly. You are a big music guy. Me, not so much. We know that.
I like the music,
but I really liked it. Not trying to persuade you on this, but you be honest with me and tell me, what do you think about this soundtrack and how does it complement this game?
I wish I could remember some of it. Why don't we play a little bit of it?
I'll play a little bit of this. Let me fast forward to some music. There it is.
I'm gonna have to play some on my side too because I can't hear. Hades 2 songs. Let me just.
So if y'all can hear this and y'all can hear me at the same time to make sure the audio is right, but guys, it literally, it's kind of fast paced a little bit. It kind of gets you like kind of like you holding your breath while you're doing this because you're moving so fast when you're fighting these enemies and stuff. And I feel like that's why when I say it complements the gameplay, I think it really does.
Yeah, and it's not like dreary either. It's kind of hopeful music. Like you don't hate being there.
Mm-mm.
You know, sometimes games try to be too dark, and you always just have this underlying sense of like doom.
That's
But
that's a good way to put it right there. Yeah.
yeah, this is very hopeful and fun music, but it also fits the tone of the video game too. So
I love the fact how, and I'll cut it off now, but I like the fact when you play a main boss, the music changes.
yeah,
That is always a key thing to me with these games that a lot of these times it misses. They still do it. It's like a core element of a game, right? When you're about to face a big boss or something big's about to happen, it's like the music you start hearing the music like Resident Evil. When the Nemesis comes out, you start hearing the heartbeat, and it's like, oh, what's happening? What's going? Get your heart racing. It gets going. And the same thing happens on this. It's a little bit more faster paced when you play these boss matches. And then once you get them complete, it kind of settles down a little bit. So they really thought about that detail for an indie game. I think that's huge.
Dude, there's one song that you need to listen to though. It's called Song of Sirens.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds a lot like what maybe a siren would sound like. And if you know anything about the lore of a siren, I think they're almost kind of like a mermaid type thing, which they can.
What's the song? What's the name of it?
It's called Song of the Sirens, and a siren. I think in lore,
Here it is.
They would sing and they would almost hypnotize.
Let me know when you want me to play it, and we can play it at the same time.
Yeah, you can go ahead and play it. I have it playing too. I'll start playing it too.
Here we go.
In the lore, a siren could hypnotize, like sailors and stuff, to where they would actually drown them. And I don't know if they would eat them, or that's just kind of the base of the lore of what I know a siren is.
Okay.
Maybe this ghost story from back in the day. But I thought that was really cool. Like it's a bit freaky, but it
is a little freaky. Yeah. The way it starts off.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, the music is just so different. And when you hear it, you're going to hear of Hades 2, you know?
Yeah.
It says, "Come to me."
Through Greek mythology, like many mythologies, the supernatural world often had little explanation of the spirits and gods could torment mortals. I was looking at sirens.
All right, I'm going to cut that so it doesn't get too copyrighted. But that's pretty cool. It's got like that slow kind of beat to it. But that's what I'm talking about. You'll have the song, and then when it comes to a boss, it just gets faster and stuff like that. And it's like you're fighting and you're hearing this stuff. It's pretty cool, man. The way they have all this music and everything. But overall, when I know at first, just to be transparent here, guys, is I know Josh wasn't, like he said, he wasn't feeling it. And I'm sure a lot of people.
I wasn't at first.
Yes. How do you feel about it now, though?
I like it, man. Like, this kind of introduced me to a whole nother section of gaming that I didn't really know I was into. You know, you can take parts of this video game and you look at, like, say, what's that game I was playing a while back where you have the dome and you're trying to build it up over time? That's a type of tower defense game. The name of that game was Dome Keeper.
Okay.
So this to me has, you know, has these different. This has almost the same DNA as a tower defense in the sense that you're going to build up your character over time to get stronger and be able to take on stronger enemies.
Yeah.
And defend your position in that dungeon crawl so that hopefully you can make it all the way through there and beat the game. And the one thing that I wish they could adjust out maybe a little bit is maybe having checkpoints to where you don't have to start at the very beginning anymore. But I know that kind of takes away from the loop of the game. Like, I get that, but I just don't know what else you would do there, because I'm the type that I want to do a run over and over and over. And I found myself when I got really far and I died and I had to start over, I was like, okay, I'm going to come back to this in like an hour. I can't just do that all over again right now.
I agree. I think if there was something I had to take away that they can improve on, if you had like checkpoints of like smaller homes, or like you had a not exactly like a Zeus or something like that, like you're talking about the people that assist and you're actually staying in their home, like, hey, we're going to give you a checkpoint here, so when you die you hurry up and you warp back to your home base pretty much. Why can't you warp back, say 2 levels down or something like that, or 2 platforms back, and then from there you can do small upgrades or something. But if you have to do the major upgrades, you have to go all the way back or something, like I feel like if they did something like that, it would make you more inclined to play more, because I had that same exact feeling. It's like I got all the way past Oceanus, and my health was almost all completely drained. So when I got to the 3rd level, I couldn't get no hearts or anything, no energy. So I died pretty quickly. And I had to go all the way back. So you had to fight the witch again. You had to fight the Oceanus again. And from that point, I was like, all right, I had the same thought process as you, Josh. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to put that up for a little bit. I can't make another 30-minute, 40-minute run every time. It's really fun. Once you get going, you can't stop. But once you die, you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm just going to upgrade and I'm going to save, and I'll pick it up later. So, but yeah, I think Hades 2 does a great job. I think they actually made a name for themselves pretty much. I think there's some things that they can fix.
This is a Steam Deck staple to me, and it's probably going to stay installed for quite a while.
Yeah, because it's
only like 3 gigs or something like it's.
Yeah, that's it. So it's going to stay there until it beat it. And I think I'm going to have to go back. If I beat this, I'm going to have to go back to Hades, the first one, and finish that game for sure.
Yeah, so. You know what? I'll probably end up beating this too, man. Like, I kind of got the itch now.
Yeah.
I went from like one extreme game type to another, and it was kind of hard to get my brain to transition over. But now that I'm in this loop, I can, like, I want to play it right now. I can play it now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, that's going to be our section for Hades 2. I hope you enjoy. I hope you got some good points. I hope it makes you want to play Hades 2. If you do, leave a comment down below. We appreciate y'all listening to us, helping us dive into this game. We had a great time so far with it. We hope you do as well. Josh, break it down for him, and let's get out of here, man. What you think?
I think. So check us out on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, guys. We're trying to build up our followers, trying to get it all out there. So check us out on Facebook, check us out on YouTube, subscribe to us on Spotify, and it also goes out to all the other platforms where you would listen to your audio podcasts. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace. Crank that music up. I can barely hear it, man.
You can barely hear it. Let it go.
There we go.